All right, let's see if I can get it to go live. I don't know. I haven't done this in so long. I kind of forgot what it's supposed to do. Is it public? Yes, it's public. It's on. I have one person here. Please comment if the sound sounds good, because I don't know. Please. Let's see. Do you hear me well? There's 2 people here. I haven't done this in so long, so I don't know if I have everything. Okay, you can hear me. Is it echoing? Diane Martinez is here. Becky's here. Okay, sounds good. Do I need more volume? Okay, it sounds good. It's not repeating. I haven't done this in forever. Okay, there's no echoing. Sounds good. Okay. So I had to do something to the YouTube side of this where I muted everybody. So the only way I can hear anything or do anything is if you guys type a comment and type on the stream. Oh my God, I'm so jealous. Okay. Dawn is sewing in her featherweight and watching. I want a featherweight so desperately. I'm on eBay bidding on like 3 featherweights. Hopefully I don't get caught in a mess. A friend of mine, her name is Jeanette Jones. Yes, hi. I'm glad you guys are here. I haven't done this in forever. I think one time something happened and someone the stream currently is lower than recommended. I don't know what's gonna happen here, okay? So just pray this works out for us, because YouTube also sometimes will kick me off or do something. So right now I'm on eBay looking for featherweights. So if anybody, you guys find one, I worked on a friend, her name is Jeanette Jones. I worked on her featherweight, and that little thing purred like a little kitty cat, and I was in love with it. So now I'm desperately seeking Susan, going everywhere. I went to like 4 estate sales recently. I don't know. I get something in my head and I'm determined and like stuck on it. You're in the Alamo, Doris? You're in San Antonio? Alamo, Texas? Well, I live in Schertz. We're like neighbors. I've met a couple of you. I know I've met like 3 of you, which is really neat meeting some of the subscribers and some of the people that watch the YouTube channel. I'm just being like my own normal self. You guys are hilarious. You're a lot of fun. This is a lot of fun. I was going to sit and edit a video, and I just kind of couldn't put my heart into it. I don't want to, I'm kind of like in an editing funk. You guys were in Round Rock, Texas. That's awesome. So, sorry. My husband was like, why are you putting on makeup? It's Sunday. I'm like, I'm going to do a live stream. Oh. So, yes. So, how are you guys doing? Yes, I'm doing a live stream. I haven't done one in years. I just kind of wanted to catch up because I didn't want to edit. I was telling everybody. Finally got a featherweight and really love it. Do y'all really love featherweights? I'm literally desperately seeking Susan, okay? I'm desperate. I'm like a stalker on featherweights. And the only reason is a friend Jeanette brought hers, if you guys weren't here in that other stream earlier. And I fixed it and we got it working. And that little thing purred like a little kitty cat. And I don't need a machine, okay? I have this one and I have that one. I don't need nothing. But now it's like I gotta have it. I don't know. It's horrible. Thank you for watching my videos, Dawn. I appreciate it. Hello, Jeanette from Missouri. Hi, everybody. Lisa Wilkinson. Becky Beggs from Round Rock. Or she was at Round Rock earlier. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you. Thank you for liking my videos. I just feel like I act like just my best friend says that, well, that's just who you really are. Okay, I'm reading something. I'm sorry. Kathy says, yeah, the computer is a bit of a process to learn on long arm quilting. Sometimes I get burned out from it, to be honest, because I'm just like being a button pusher. As a matter of fact, you want to see the quilt that I have on here? Yeah, I'm working. Well, I was either going to quilt this quilt today or I'm procrastinating and quilt it tomorrow. And then instead I was on eBay looking for featherweights. And man, they want to rip you off, man. Some of them, they want $1,000 for a featherweight when they probably found it in grandma's closet. But yeah. You love this quilt? Yes, it's a military quilt. One of my clients, this is her son's uniforms. Isn't it neat? There's her son's uniforms. Isn't that cool? That is so cool. They're her son's uniforms from all the time he worked, or deployments. I think each deployment had a different type of uniform or color. Yeah. She said Afghanistan had a certain type of uniform they had to wear. So it's really pretty. Look. But it has pockets, labels, and name tags all over it. So I have to be real careful with this one and make sure that everything is in good shape. A guild member. Okay, you found a featherweight for like $500. I found a couple. I'm bidding on 2 of them right now. I'm on eBay being a bidder. It's not healthy because it kind of asks you like, you want to raise your bid? You want to raise your bid? You want to go higher? And of course I don't want to go higher because I don't need one. And so I'm just kind of like, well, if that bid doesn't go, these 2 bids don't go to my price range, I may buy a restored one because I know that they worked on them and fixed them. I'm talking about the featherweights. And I may just get over this like featherweight addiction that I'm in, but that's just my behavior. I'm even talking myself down. Lorena, you know you don't need it. You know you're okay without it. You will survive. And I will, but I just want one. It's ridiculous. Okay. Someone said that their husband was in the... I added some of the uniform fabrics in a quilt for my niece. I think these quilts are really neat because they have... they have history, right? I think she said that her son went on 3 deployments, and so she has 3 different uniforms on this quilt, and it's pretty big, but it's such a macho quilt to me. Macho. It's like a man quilt, you know. So how are you guys? I wanted, I'm a little bit, pray for me a little bit. I'm a little bit burned out. I'm burned out from editing, not YouTube. I wish I could find an editor. You guys have done a bit, so just keep me in your prayers. I think I get in a rhythm, and it's a really good rhythm, and I get backlogs on videos. So last month, that's kind of what I did, and I already ran through my backlog of videos. So now I need to go edit again. He says, oh, okay. Nice to see you back, Susan. Hi, Denise. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet all of you. I've literally met some of you in person, and y'all are the most wonderful people. I am right now on my Facebook group. One of you guys does quilts for cancer children, and I offered to quilt the quilts for her, and she sent me a picture of her donating the quilts that both of us worked on, because she made the tops and I quilted them for her, and I donated my batting to her. So it was neat seeing a picture of her person. So that's a blessing. Nice to see you, Diana, Susan, Denise. If I don't say your name, please forgive me. Crafts and gliders and things. Nice to see you. Brenda's here. Jeanette is here. Jeanette Smith is here. I'm really bad with names, so please forgive me. Melissa's here. Say hi to everybody. I really do appreciate just you taking your time to spend some time with me. We have some South Carolinas here, South Illinois, from Illinois, Southern Illinois. What else? Where else where we have? Missouri's here. Some Texans are here. Some Iowa. Ginger is here. A-Childs, I guess that's your YouTube, is here. Thank you for being here. I really am thankful for you guys. I've met a couple of you guys in a quilt store randomly. Y'all are the most sweetest people. Oh my God. Canada's here. Where are we at? Ontario, Canada, Eastern Ontario. Lisa is here from Las Vegas. Y'all are awesome. Elizabeth. What is PA? Philadelphia? I'm not sure. Oklahoma's here. Arizona. New Jersey. Ashley's here. Nice to meet you guys. Seriously. I just kind of wanted to come on here because usually I post a video. I try to post a video every week, and I've just been like kind of like in a weird funk. Connecticut is here. Ohio, Pennsylvania, outside of Philly. Y'all are fun. So I just wanted to come up here. Southwest Michigan. My husband used to pick in Michigan. He used to pick what is it? He used to strawberries. He said Nebraska's here. So what do you guys want to talk about? I was talking about earlier that I'm desperately seeking a featherweight, a 221 Singer featherweight. Another New Jerseyan is here. Tom is here. Galen Lima is here. Iman is here. I'm sorry if I say your name wrong. I'm horrible. So I just wanted to come up here and say hi. I haven't done a live stream here. I've done one. I used to do one a month when I had my business downstairs, but I've never done one here. I have a different type of internet system in here, so I was wondering if I would have troubles with how it would work here. And so we also have some people. Wendy from Alabama. Oh, I'm doing good. Miss Henderson is asking how everybody's doing. How are you guys? How's COVID treating y'all? Over here in Texas, we're an open state to where we don't have room in our hospitals again. So that's kind of crazy. Okay. You will love your featherweight. Y'all have a featherweight group? That's kind of neat. All right. Ashley asked me a question. I'll read it to you. What long arm machine would I recommend for a person just starting out? There's two things for long arm quilting. One, if you're going to use it for a business, I recommend a Gamel. Gamel, and I recommend, well, you don't have to have a Gamel. Let me be clear. I recommend a computerized long arm quilting system. The reason I recommend a Gamel is because Gamel has been good to me. Now, if you're going to just be quilting your own quilts and doing your own long arm quilting, I recommend, Gamel, but a long arm system that doesn't have a computerized system, because if you're only doing your stuff, you can be very creative and you can do like really beautiful crafted quilts if you're only going to be working for yourself. But what happens is you're investing so much money that you'll probably want to do work for others. And so I recommend that you get a gamble that's a Statler. And right now there is, that's awesome. Right now you could go to Long Arm Quilting University online, and there's some people who are selling their gamels at a pretty good rate. Now, I want you to know that gamel Statler stitchers, they kind of hold their value for a long period of time. So some of them are trying to sell their long arms for like $28,000 when you can get a brand new one for that. I personally, and I know a lot of people ask me, what long arm would you use? The reason I recommend gamel, and I'm going to give you my reasons, it's the frame. It's completely steel. The bars don't warp on you. The frame system that holds the gamel is really strong. And I've had my gamel since 2008, the December of 2008. No, I got it January 9th, to be honest. I ordered it in November 2008. And I've never had any, like the bar, though I put a lot of pressure on them because I put heavy quilts on them. They're not bending or warping. Gamel has a rounded back curve. I don't know if you can see it, how it has that rounded back curve. Wait, rounded back curve because on the camera, how it rounds in the back of it, which when you're rolling the quilt, you do lose some space there, but you don't lose as much because they rounded the back of the inside of the machine. Those are things that you need to think about. So I'm a gamel girl, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't know nothing about long arm quilting. At the time, there was no YouTube about long arm quilting. And at the time, they weren't teaching classes on long arm quilting. So the reason I got my gamel is because I had a dream that I got a gamel long arm quilting system. And to me, when I have dreams, I feel that's the way God talks to me. And a year later, I had the gamel in the space that I dreamed it in. And so I didn't know anything about it. And so to me, it's like, well, God told me to get a gamel, so go get a gamel. Let me read some of y'all's comments. Some of you got tested with COVID and you guys are doing good. Susan, I'm glad you're negative. There's a couple people in the comments that love gamel or like gamel. I also think the Novas are great. I know one of my favorite long arm quilters, her name is Susan, I think, is it Susan Chambers? Chambers. That's her last name. She has the most wonderful long arm quilting. She had a gamel and she didn't like the way the stitched for her because she does this intricate, beautiful detail long arming that she uses, I believe, the Innova and Chambers. I don't know her last name, her first name. There's some people from Canada. That is awesome. I think there's two things you need to consider when you're getting a long arm: your price, what you can afford, because that's really important. Because the first year that you get your gamel, if you're going to try to do a business, you're really not going to make a lot of money because you're learning, and you need that time to learn. There's some people, Diana says that she's had her gamel for 25 years. Yeah, and I recommend, to be honest, I was going to get a gamel without the computerized system, and I talked to a lady who had a gamel at her shop, and she told me, Lorena, wait till you could afford the machine you want. Yes, Sharon Shamber, I love her. And I ended up getting the machine that I had, and I've never wanted any other machine. I got the lights, the colored painted on it. Initially I got everything, and if you think about it, like 12 years later, I don't regret anything, and I don't want a new one. I'm really satisfied. I know some people who have bought Tin Lizzies, and they have purchased, one lady I met, she had purchased a long arm and then went back and purchased another long arm, traded this one in and bought another one. She bought an Innova, and then the neck was too small because the neck didn't have that round. Let me moving that rounded curve. And then she couldn't do big quilts, or she would only be able to quilt smaller areas. And then she traded that one in for a longer throat in Nova, I believe. And then she came to my house and I long armed something for her because she kind of got stuck where she couldn't quilt the end of the quilt. Well, I told her she could flip the back fabric, and so I said just come over, and I quilted it for her. And then she sold that one, and her issue was, do you see how it rounds on the inside of the long arm? I'm probably showing my finger wrong. This area back there. Sorry, finger gestures. She says that when you're rolling the quilt, because it has a square frame on the inside, you lose a lot of throat space, believe it or not. So that's one of the reasons why I would still go with Gamel, because they kind of thought of things that I didn't even think about. And so she sold her 3 machines, probably lost money in the process of selling those machines, and then she got a machine exactly like mine, believe it or not. Isn't that crazy? So I'm real thankful for listening to my friend and just waiting until I could afford a machine. But if you're doing a business, does that make sense? If you want to work the machine, like make money and be on top of it, that's my recommendation. That's my counsel. If you're going to not be working for others, but who knows what you may do 10 years from now, 5 years from now, I do recommend that you still get a Gamel, but maybe one without a computerized system so that you can learn the process of long arm quilting. And I'm talking to people who only want to quilt maybe 1 or 2 quilts, maybe 3 quilts a week, maybe 1 or 2 quilts a week, maybe 5 quilts a month. But if you're one of those people that wants to quilt like 10 quilts a month, yeah, computer really is helpful. And now I'm turning 50 next year. And when I got it, well, it was 12 years ago. Shoot. I was 38 when I got my machine, maybe. Yeah. I didn't have elbow problems. I've noticed that sometimes if I move the long arm a lot when I'm doing my own custom work, I have issues with my elbows. And I know some people, I talked to a lady named Barbara. She asked me if she should get a computer, and I told her yes, because she wanted to do business and quilt for others. And right after she got her computerized system, she found out that she had arthritis on her shoulders from all those years long arming without a computer. So let me see. Let me read some of your comments, okay? Someone had COVID in February. Wendy, you had COVID? It wasn't that bad. If you're O positive or O negative, they say, well, I am, that you don't get as sick. Yeah, Sharon Shamber, she lives in Arizona. I love her. She's honestly one of the reasons why I love long arm quilting. If you've seen her work, also too, let me share this about Gamel, because someone said having service and support. Anytime I've called Gamel about something, I've had the best results talking to Gamel. Every time I've talked to Linda's Electric Quilting, who is my vendor, I've had some problems with her a bit. I'm not saying anything. There are other times where I figured out what the problem was without any support, and that Linda's Electric Quilting did ship that product to me quickly because they're my vendor. But anytime, let's say one of my computers in the back, I messed something up, they were on the phone with me for like 6 hours putting the new chip into the computer. They walked me through it, and I acted like a scandalous woman. Oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. Because it was like, I felt like I ruined a $40,000 machine, and I was panicking. And the man who walked me through it was the nicest, kindest, most patient man, probably annoying the hell out of him. And he just talked to me like nothing was wrong. So Gamel from Statler Stitcher, or the owner of that company, sometimes you have to call them personally. They are the best people. I really love their support. As a matter of fact, I had an issue with my computer one time, and I was on the phone with them, and they called me. I had to leave a message, and they called me like quickly. Gamma doesn't have people who fix your machines. We go through seasons where we'll have like 2 people that can work on our gammels, and they're people you go through to. But I've kind of become a mechanic of my own machine, and to be honest, my machine has been great. All right, some people are talking to me here. Let me ask you your questions. Thank you for being addicted to my videos, Diana Martinez. She's a gammel girl too. You can also if you get a Statler, you could retrofit it and put a computerized system into it after the fact. That's what she's saying. She retrofit hers. Barbara, who got just the regular gammel, as she got older, she wanted the computer, and they retrofit hers. My frame is tall, and my elbows are usually laying with the quilts. Yeah, it's just, for me personally, I think I used to bike ride. Well, I still do. But I was bike riding, and I fell on my shoulder, and I fell on my elbows. So I think when I'm having like shoulder or elbow issues, it's because I have old injuries. Yeah. You can retrofit your long arms. And if you go to Long Arm Quilting University, there's people selling their long arms on the cheap. I know a lady, and they're selling the Statlers on the cheap. I know a lady who bought one for $10,000. I was like, you did what? You found what? I would have bought that machine even though I didn't have a place for it. So that's my recommendation. But there is Green Fairy Quilting. What is her name? She uses, I don't know, it looks like a Tin Lizzie. I'm not sure what it is. She does the most beautiful custom work. So if you're one of those people that want just to quilt your quilts and learn long arming and not go out and try to make money, this lady, Jamie, no, what is her name? I don't want to look on the phone. She does the most, I think it's Green Fairy Quilting or something like that. I have her book. Her quilts look a bit modern. She does a lot of line work. Her quilts are beautiful. I think she even has 2 books published that I own because I love her work. And she doesn't have a computerized system. So it just depends on where you want to go. So if you want to just do custom quilting, you can literally get a Tin Lizzie and make beautiful work. Like really do work that is magnificent because you learn the skill of long arm quilting. You don't need a big giant machine to do beautiful work. I've seen some people do beautiful quilting on little sewing machines, which I will never do because I don't have patience. Oh no. Yes. So how are you though? How you've been? What you doing? Today's Sunday, so we had service, and then my kids came over. So we were fellowshipping, and then now I'm here talking to you guys. What kind of videos do y'all want to see? Do you guys care? More long arm quilting? Are you bored with my content? I don't mind. You could tell me. Say, another long arm quilting video, Lorena. Yes, Judy Madison. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Judy Madison from Green Fairy Quilting. Dandy Quilters answered me. Awesome. She's beautiful. You should see her work. She has a blog. Yes, when there were still blogs, she has a blog. I know some of you, I don't know if some of you did my blog swap with me. Y'all are funny. Thank you, Lisa. I want the long arm at my local shop. No computer, just free motion. But I'm learning. Don Graham. There is this book called 5 Steps to Long Arm Quilting. I recommend you get that book. I don't know who writes it. In the 5 Steps of Long Arm Quilting, she talks about line work, S-curve, C-curve, loops, and something else. And long arm quilting has all 5 of those elements. And if you can do those 5 elements, you can do some really beautiful quilting work. As a matter of fact, if you look at a feather is an S curve with a straight line. And then you go back to that line and you have a C curve and you go back down that line. So if you get that book, oh, you have it. Oh, then I'm talking. You know. I don't need to talk to you. You already know. I love that book. That's one of the best books that really helped me with long arm quilting. But I think practicing, and you don't have to practice on a machine to learn the skill of long arm quilting. Doodle on paper. When I was going to college, you know how your professor's always talking to you? I used to like doodle. And just doodle on paper. If you can doodle on paper and do it on paper, you could probably do it on the long arm. And so I used to doodle and make, so like a flower. We're going to do class today. Here's, you do a circle, right? And then a C curve kind of. And then there's the flower. And then you can just do loop-de-loops. Kind of like that. Can y'all see that? Can you see that? I don't know. But doodling. Get a doodle. I'll even tell you my favorite pencil. My favorite pencil is this Papermate. Favorite pencil. And I used to doodle when I was listening to my dumb professors. And, you know, I was still listening, but I would doodle. And that honestly really did improve my long arm quilting. Thank you for liking my content. I'm trying really to have fun, but it's sometimes hard to have fun when I'm having a bad day. Yes, muscle memory, practicing with doodling. You love my bob. I love my bobbin winder. I have 2 of them from Innova. As a matter of fact, I'm debating. Hi, Nancy Wheeler. I'm debating if I want to go get another one. Oh, that's stupid. Okay, I have one for long arm quilting here. I'm thinking of getting 2 because when I'm getting quilts ready, I have one going, right? I wish I could get 2 going so I could wind the bobbins faster. I think they even have a bobbin winder that has 2 of them in there, but I don't know. And but I still need one for my regular sewing machines, because that one you can use for your regular sewing machine and for long arm quilting. That's why I love it. But they're kind of expensive, $140, $150. But I got them at the Houston Quilt Show, and I made them set it up for me. I made them set up the winder for me, because I'm not going to do that thing. Yes. You know what? I got a design one time from a little girl who was doing chalk drawing. She was doing a chalk drawing on the floor. I passed like, you know, an apartment, and I'll show you the doodle was this. That was her doodle. I saw this on, a little girl was doing it, I think, with chalk on the floor, and I was like, that would make a beautiful quilting design. I was like in love with it. My batting, yes, right sides, wrong sides of batting. Yes, if not, you'll have bearding. I ended up buying batting from overstock.com. One of my favorite battings is Palon, 100% cotton. And I got some at overstock.com, which I got it on the cheap. But I don't know what happened. It's so thin that I was quilting a quilt with it, and I started getting bearding. And I was like, man, I spent $100 on, I think, 50 yards of batting. It was a deal, okay? 50 yards of batting for $100 is like cheap. But I thought I was getting a deal because it was Pelon, and then I did it on another quilt, which is my own personal quilt, just to quilt it and get it done. Yeah, it quilted great. I don't know what that day was. I just had problems. Yeah, wrong sides batting causes bearding. Also, too, bearding is caused where you see like lint or padding in the stitch line of your quilting because your needles are dull. So if you're a long armor and you see that, your quiltings are dull. The other day I did a quilt and I did a whole row and I had eyelashes all over the thing and I had to unstitch that sucker. It was like the worst thing ever. It was the worst thing ever. And then at the time, my AC unit, I don't know if you've been watching my videos, I'm like, oh my God, it is so hot. I'm sweating. I don't know. I thought my AC unit broke up here. It didn't break. What happened is, one guy came and worked on it, and I think he took Freon out or did something because he thought it was overloaded with too much Freon. But I think what he did is he took too much out. And so as the summer here, it's gotten bad. That's why I moved the long arm this way to kind of get cool. Like right now, I'm right under the AC unit. I was sweating in here. I was dying in here. And, and then the quilting messed up. So I had to unstitch and I'm sweating everywhere. But you know, the AC guy came back and he just put Freon and it's completely fine. Someone asked me a question. The Nova bobbin winder is not hard to set up, but why? When you can count the people from Innova setting it up for you. No, the Innova is not hard to set up. I go there, and then when I bought them there, so while they're there, they kind of set it up to where it winds perfect. Some people's cultures dream all cotton works great. Yes. My favorite threads. Elizabeth Chapel is asking me what I love. My favorite threads. King Tut. I love King Tut. But you have to be very good with your tension. And so a lot of long armors do not use King Tut because if your tension is bad, you can see it. Also too, let me see if I could find it. Hold on. On my machine, if you don't want to spend a lot of money and you want a good variety of threads, kind of cheap, I recommend Essentials thread from Connections Thread. Now, this only costs like maybe $3, 3 something or 2 something, depending. You can get a set of them. This, my long arm loves. My long arm loves. I believe that no matter what, your long arm should love all threads. I believe long armors are lazy about tension, and so they only want to use a specific thread. Once they got the tension right, they don't want to deal with tension issues. But my favorite thread is King Tut. King Tut. I do not like, what is it called? And I love this one, the Essentials thread line. Essentials thread also came out with the long arm quilting line where they have bigger spools. And they're great threads, 100% cotton. And the King Tut is 100% cotton. And I could not use that Essentials thread no matter what I did. Okay. It could be your tension. It's a thicker thread, so you have to thin out the tension on the bobbin, and you have to thin out the tension on the top. But I love this thread, but it's cheaper, so I don't know if that's a factor, because Diana said that she had issues with the tension. Some people love Glide. I don't use Glide, but it's whatever. Omni's good. What is it? YLI is good. I've used those. I even think a client of mine bought some long arm thread from Missouri Star Quilting, I believe. and I'm going to try it out. I think she gave me a spool before and I loved it and it worked great. So Missouri Star Quilting also has their online. Let me get it so you can see it because it's huge. It's huge. I'm coming back. Hold on. So I'm sorry I left, but this is from Missouri Star Quilt. It's 100%. And it's 3,000 yards. Let me get you in focus. And I don't know how much this was because I didn't purchase it, but a client gave it to me. Look how beautiful and big this thing is. This is my King Tut. This is 2,000 yards. So Fine. I don't use So Fine for custom quilting. I use So Fine for, I don't use So Fine for regular quilting. I use these for my client's quilt. I use Essentials thread sometimes, depending on my client, but usually I use the King Tut. I'm going to try these. This one from Missouri Star Quilting. So King Tut's my thing, okay? I use those to do pantos for custom, for regular quilting, like pantos and overall quilting. Those are my favorite, 100% cotton. Bottom line, I use for my custom stuff because I noticed that when I try to custom with these, they're too thick. For custom quilting, the thread is too thick and chunky, and this thread breaks a lot when you're doing little tiny intricate stuff. So my favorite is Bottom Line or So Fine. Bottom Line or So Fine thread. It's a bottom line thread. It's a really thin thread that I use for custom quilting. Hi Sydney, nice to have you here from Canada. Brunswick, nice to meet you, nice to see you. So Fine Bottom Line is my favorite. I don't judge lazy quilters, man. I think I'm a lazy long armor because I just push buttons, right? I'm not doing that intricate stuff like some long armors. Some of you wonderful long armors that don't have a computerized system, y'all are working when you're doing quilts for people. Y'all are working. You guys are putting the time in. I just sit here and do other stuff while my machine is working, but I'm not. I like playing with threads, so I change the thread up a little bit. But I know some long armors will say, like, my machine only likes this, and I understand. They don't want to change threads because changing threads takes time, a lot of time to find that perfect tension. As a matter of fact, a client asked me to quilt a quilt with her with a certain type of thread. Dang, it took me an hour to figure out the tension, and I had to like loosen it because the thread was so thick. I had to loosen it, and then it'd quilt, and then the thread would break. I would have to loosen it again. But I figured it out by the time I was done with row 1. That took me an hour and something. The next couple rows just quilted well, but I had to find that sweet spot. Signature thread is great too, but I just love this stuff. And also too, if you're a business and you go to Superior, they will give you a wholesale account, and so these are $30. I get them for $15, and any other thread that they have, like Bottom Line, So Fine, even metallic threads, I get them wholesale. So business accounts help. Let's see. Let me read some of y'all. I know what you mean. Yeah, So Fine thread. Oh, if you have issues with So Fine thread, I think Elizabeth brought this comment up. My recommendation is use a regular cotton thread on the bobbin and use So Fine thread on the top only. I found that's my sweet spot with So Fine. I find that winding the thread for a So Fine thread into a bobbin. I've had issues winding it, but that's just me. But what I figured out, when you see those little banners that I've done, I tend to use a heavier bobbin thread in the back of the fabric and then sew fine or a very thin thread on the top. That really has worked for me. Let me see the comments, because some of you, I'm losing y'all's comments. Let me see. What do I charge for thread? Okay. Arlen from, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say your last name. Ballesteros. Forgive me. What I charge for thread is, I have a general permanent cost for thread. So, let's say a baby quilt. I generally charge $5 to $6, maybe $7, depending on the density of the thread, but it's like $5 to $7. A throw quilt, I charge $7 to $9, depending on the less dense, $7, the more dense, $9. For twin, I charge, I believe, from $9 to $10, $9 to $11, depending on density. So I hope this is helping. I give just one permanent charge. I know there's some people that charge per bobbin. That is a huge debate for me lately, because I feel like people can rip people off that way, in the sense of, twin, let's say 7 to 9 to 10. Queen, I charge probably 9 to 11 or 12, and king, depending on, I probably charge 10 to 12. And if it's custom or something really dense, I may go up to $13 or $14. Very rarely do I charge that much on thread. And I'm going to give you my spiel about thread. I pay, this is $30 wholesale. Wholesale, I get $15. You could probably quilt 3 king size quilts with this. So what I'm trying to do is make the value of the spool plus more, so I could kind of make some money, but I'm not really concerned about making money on the thread. So if I could do 3 king size quilts and I charge, let's say $10, I made $30 back. I believe wholesale is, you just really want to double your money, right? So I doubled my money because I paid $15. I got $30 off of it. I'm doing good. If I do baby quilts or something like that, and I'm charging $6, 6 to 7, or no, like twin or something like that, I'm charging $6 to $7 or $8. I could probably do 4 or 5 quilts with this. So if I charge $7, it's $28. So it kind of washes a bit. Like, in some areas I make money on the thread, and some areas I don't. I had a client recently come to me, and I was shocked at what she was being charged for thread. I kind of got mad at the long armor, like, dang, that long armor is ripping you off. I charged her for the quilting, and then I just gave her the set price. I think it was a queen size quilt, and I charged her like $11, maybe 11, maybe 12, not $11 probably for the quilting. And she literally thought I was going to charge her like $30 more, because the long armor she was going to was charging her, I think it was like $3 or $4 per bobbin. Yeah, and if you're doing a queen size quilt and it's densely quilted, you probably go through a bobbin and a half per quilt. And if you do 4 rows, that's 8. And if you charge $4 times 8, that's pretty expensive thread, I think. And then I got mad when I found out what kind of thread she used, because she used this glide thread. Y'all don't want to hear my spill. Glide thread, you get 5,000 yards of glide thread, and it only cost the girl $7. I'm paying $15 for this, which I like glide thread. I don't have no debate about it, but I think this is King Tut Egyptian cotton thread, right? Foo-foo thread, kind of. And the lady's making, and that's on one quilt, she's charging, give or take, maybe $20, and she could probably make on that glide thread, she probably quilt 4 king size quilts. So she's making like $100 on $7 thread. So I just do a set price, and I want to make sure that my clients are comfortable, because if not, think about it. They could go buy a spool of thread. Like this client, I think, bought this thread at Missouri Star Quilting for like $15. And the clients see stuff. They see how you are. And if I'm charging $20 and it's not using a whole spool, they could feel like you're ripping them off. And that's why the client came to me, because and she thought I was expensive because she saw me on YouTube, and she thought that because I don't know why people think because I'm on YouTube. I don't know. There's something about watching someone on TV that there is this that I'm probably really priced real high. Some people think I'm famous, and I'm just like a 50-year-old lady who's just doing YouTube just to get out of her house a bit. And so, to me, I'm going to charge you what I charge all my clients, $10 or $12 for quilting your king size quilt. And it's just thread, man. That's how I look at it. It's just thread. And if the client wants to go buy the spool, I would be okay with it, because I want them comfortable with me. And that client who was getting overcharged, that long armor lost her because of the thread charging, and she literally has brought me 10 quilts. So in me saving her probably like $10 per quilt, maybe, but I've made a lot of money off of her just in long arm quilting her quilts. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So be careful how you charge people with thread, but that's how I charge. So what you could do is you could the way you charge for long arming per square inch, you can also do that with your thread cost. You could get your thread cost and divide how many yards it is based on how much you paid for it, and then you can charge that kind of fee and maybe double it, and then you're charging the exact amount of thread that you use. Also, when you charge per bobbin, when you're not using, see, I think that's where you kind of can rip people off. Well, I didn't use this whole bobbin, but I'm still charging you $4 because I wound the bobbin, though I get to keep a good chunk of that thread. Is that really fair when you're charging that person the $4 for the bobbin, and just because you wound it? I literally had a lady, she was such a tightwad. Oh my God. She unwound the thread. But what happened is I used her thread to quilt her own quilt, and she literally tied the thread to her thing and wound it back to her thing. And I was like, hey girl, you could just take the bobbin, I don't care. But I did her a favor by quilting her quilt. She's the lady who bought the Innova, and the back she didn't have enough. And I did it for her for free, so I don't understand why her leaving some of her thread on a bobbin was such a dramatic thing. But what I found is no one wants to get their quilts done by her, because she's one of those people who does overcharge on thread, and she's just out to make money, not get to love the client. And so you can literally find out how much you paid for a square inch of this, and then double that, and then make it like a system for yourself. I think that, and then now you know what exactly to charge them. But I have a general fee. Like a baby quilt, I charge maybe $5.50, $6. I mean, I didn't use that much thread, but so keep that in mind, because if you're charging $20, $30 on thread, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? That long armor, that little sneaky lady. But your clients don't know, and some of them aren't going to question you, but they're going to go sometimes to another long armor, and they're going to see their rates are a bit different or better, that you're going to lose them. So you want to be good to them. How did you begin long arming? Okay, so Tanashia West Albert, I'm sorry if I say your name. She's asking me this question. How did I begin long arm quilting? And then she asked me, how would I just suggest someone to get into long arm quilting? Well, Uh, to be honest, someone told me that I would never have a long arm. I went and I met this lady. I'm an embroidery girl. Me love embroidery. Embroidery. I used to do, well, I still do embroidery for baseball teams. I do embroidery for hats. I do jerseys. I do vinyl. I think if you want to do a business, that's where the money's at. Because with an embroidery machine, the cost is cheaper than a long arm. And if you're going to do vinyl work, like right now, I know some friends that I told them to start doing vinyl work and doing shirts and selling shirts with vinyl. They're making a lot of money, and the investment to start it is really cheap. That's my spiel. So I met someone, and someone told me you need to go see her because she has a machine like you, because I had an embroidery machine. And this lady told me that I would never have a long arm. And I heard the Holy Spirit one time. I was watching a long arm quilting. I had no idea what long arming was. I would quilt my machines on my little sewing machines right there, my little sewing machines, and I would break my back sewing them. And I didn't even know long arm quilting was an existing thing, to be honest, because I had 5 kids. I was breastfeeding. I was having them. I was, tending to the family. And then when I saw her machine, I was like, wow, this is a thing. But I'm always very business oriented. So my suggestion is research. Right now you have the blessing of YouTube where you can research what it's like. Like, I guess watching me doing the long arm quilting business is great research. Asking questions to people. When I really started considering doing it, I started going to quilt shops and asking long armers what long arm they recommend. As a matter of fact, the lady who sold me my machine, I picked her. I hung out with her probably like in the amount of times I went a whole week. I asked her how she charged. She was the one that told me how to put the leaders on, because Gamble or Linda's Electric Quilting, the way they put the quilt on was horrible. She used to do all 3 bars, and then I found someone that hangs their quilts. So kind of like go and ask everyone and see if this is something. If you like quilting, you're gonna love long arm quilting. If you like making, you're gonna love long arm quilting. If you're artsy, if you like textile type of art stuff, you're gonna love this kind of field. But you don't have to do long arming. You could do it in embroidery, because embroidery is the neatest thing. You can embroider shirts and jackets and vests. I did cancer vests for this lady. Oh my God. It was like an art piece, the vest, because they would carry these little chemo packs inside these vests that, those denim vests that have the big pockets, so she could put. Anyway, I embroider these things, and I already was into the thread art. If you like thread art, you'll love it. But research, and then go to your local quilting place and talk to the long armor. Ask her about body fatigue. Ask her about standing on your feet for all hours. Ask her about difficult quilts. Ask her what she charges, because your community will charge differently than my community. Pick people's brains. And like the lady who I got the long arm quilting from, I would take my quilts to her. So I'm paying her for a service, but because I'm paying her for service, I could pick her brain. You know what I mean? I could pick her brain, because I have her undivided attention, because she's doing work for me. And I would even buy her lunch and ask her questions. And she used to sell gamels. And I went and I think a year later, after I was picking her brain and asking her questions, I'm sure after a while she's like, oh, here she comes again, asking more when she gonna buy, because she wanted to make commission off of me. And then one day I went in there and I said, all right, lady, I'm ready to buy the machine. And I wanted to honor her time and her investment that she did for me. And so I went to her and I bought it from her, because she was a great resource. Do you do quilts, embroidery exclusive or are you employed elsewhere? I do not work nowhere else. I just do long arm quilting and I do embroidery work. I was going to do a video, but I don't know if this would be a video you guys want to see. And at this current time, I have a decent flow of constant work. If I'm not doing quilting work, I'm doing embroidery work for a client. If I'm not doing embroidery work, I'm doing vinyl shirts. So I kind of open myself up to different kinds of work. Do you get what I mean? And so I was going to do a video on how much money you can make on long arm quilting in a week, because there is some women out here, and it is possible that you can quit your real job to do this. But I want you to know that like in January, February, and March, a lot of people have spent so much money that they start being tight with money, and long arm quilting is not a necessity. And so kind of, I remember like through March and April, it was a little bit dry for me. And honestly, I really didn't want to work, because from when I moved in here, right, last year, I was so busy, I couldn't even think straight. I was trying to do probably like 3 quilts a day. I was up here probably 4 or 5 days a week. And the king size quilts, I would probably do 2 of them. The smaller quilts, I would try to do 3 or 4 of them. Like babies, I could get them out like that. So you can make money, but it is a very ebb and flow kind of money. I don't have to work because my husband makes a really great income, and so I don't have to work, but I work because I can't take it. I want to do something. I want to invest in myself somehow, right? This is kind of like my thing, my baby. So currently I work for YouTube. So YouTube brings me some income. Plus I do work for embroidery. That brings income. And then I do vinyl. That brings a different type of income. And I do long arm quilting. So I've kind of like opened and branched myself out to do different types of revenue. So let's say if my husband were to quit his job, could I survive? Yeah, I could. If I hustle. I'm a little bit of a procrastinator. I work when I want to. I work when I feel like it. And if my clients want quilts done, I'm like that. If my clients say, take your time, I take my time, which is horrible. Cindy Miller, you heard my podcast? Yeah, I was having a really hard week last week. I'm glad you heard it. Thank you for hearing it. I started a podcast the other day. I have all this podcast equipment now. I wanted to start a podcast with my ministry, but so let me answer. Thank you for listening for my podcast. And the podcast is on Spotify. I'm gonna plug it. It's on Spotify, and it is A Thread of Scarlet. I also have a blog called athreadofscarlet.net if y'all want to read my old stuff, because I've been doing this for years. I think sometimes y'all see me now, but YouTube's really had me hidden. Diana is asking me, do I have my kids at home? My kids are all grown up. I have a 19-year-old and I have a 35-year-old that are still in my house. One of them is working on his degree, and I have 3 of my children have moved on and are creating families and are married, and I have grandchildren. I have 4 of them. So I think at this current time, it's not my turn time. I get up. Okay, I'm up late at night. I'm a late night person. I like working at night, and I wake up late sometimes. I'm trying to undo that, especially when it was hot up here. Working early was better. So can you do this as a full-time business? Yes, there's some people that do it, but you have to be good. You have to be really good with people. And what else can I say to you? You have to be fair with your pricing. You can literally lose your business if you screw people with thread. one lady had a business and she started hiking up her prices on thread because you can make a lot of money on thread, especially with long arm quilting, because you could screw people over and people are left with an ugly feeling. Within a year of her hiking up her prices, her shop dried out. So yeah, I think you can. As a matter of fact, I will literally, when I was hustling, and I'm going to tell you, when I do a king size quilt, so you have an idea of what kind of money you can make. And that's me just providing the thread and stuff, but you kind of have a collection of thread that you've as an expense. I can charge $350 for a king size quilt. For custom quilting, I could charge up to $600, maybe $500. It's insane to say that, and some people will pay it. I always try, when I write down the price, I panic and I'm like, I'll give you the thread for free. Because I can't believe that people are willing to spend that kind of money. There was 1 week, and 1 week I made $700 in 1 week, and I worked probably 2 days. Yeah, so you can do well in this field, but you have to, but my if you're going to do this, have a computerized system to be able to do that. Because if you don't have a computerized system, you would probably only be able to handle long arm quilting 1 quilt per day, and it would probably be a medium to a twin size quilt before you're exhausted, and then the next day you probably won't want to quilt, so you probably quilt 3 quilts a week because of body fatigue. So the computerized system, let's say on my busy seasons, I can get 10 quilts done in a week, and usually I'm like killing myself, and I'm probably here 4 days working, and I work from probably 10 in the morning till like 5, give or take, so you have an idea of what time is for me. And I'll be up here late. So you can make money, but then 1, you have to get known. 2, you have to be good. You have to know what you're doing, and that may take you a year. And so my first year, like someone was asking, how do you get started? When I first got my long arm, I quilted for people cheap. I'll do 3 quilts and give you 1 for free. I will, I'll give you a thing of batting for free. I was selling myself very cheap to get work in because I wanted to learn what quilting was like for variety types of makers, because each piecer has a different hand. And so my recommendation is, if you get a long arm, that's how I did it. And I gave deals like, bring me 3 quilts, number 4 is free. And what I did is, you can have 4 different people bringing the quilt, and you guys just split it. You kind of just give all 4 of you a discount. I didn't care if it was multiple people who came and brought me 4 quilts or multiple people who brought me 3. It didn't have to be one person, but I wanted the chunk of 4 quilts in my house, so I knew that I was quilting 4 quilts. So quilting number 4, I was getting paid for 3. And if I was making like king size quilts, I was getting paid probably at the time maybe $200. So that was $600 for 3 quilts. And then quilting the 1 didn't really matter because I have the computer. Who cares? It just push buttons, and I would push buttons and go cook dinner, push buttons and go talk to my kids, and just hurry up and do it. And so there's ways of getting business if you have a long arm quilting. Give great rates. Give better rates than quilt stores, because they're more likely trust a quilt store, because they can fight with a quilt store for refunds and stuff, and you can ruin a quilt store's reputation, so they can't really do anything with a person who works from home. So give great rates. Tanisha, I'm sorry I got your name wrong. It's a beautiful name. Thank you. Thank you for telling me I have a great heart. I really try to be kind to everybody, but I have a temperament, okay? I get really upset with my clients who take your time and they're harassing me. I'm like, ugh, really? You? I know a friend of mine. She's not my friend anymore. She started working for a long armor, and this was smart. She worked for a long armor, used the long armor to teach her everything she wanted to know, and then conned the long armor to sell her the long arm because the long armor had a shop, and then stole and took all the long armor's clients. That was smart, because this way she didn't have to earn the clients. She was using the reputation of the owner of the long armor, but I think that's kind of dirty and you're being conniving. Then you're not standing on your own merit, because you're standing on someone else's work and you're getting someone else's client. And if you start a business, God will bring you the clients. God did me. I remember I would talk to random people out of nowhere, and I would ask God, can you find me clients? I need some money. And I would be in line at not Albertsons, at Joann's at the time, and I would like, hey, what are you doing? What are you making? And they're like, oh, I'm making this. And I go, oh, I'm making this. And they're like, well, what do you do? I'm a long armor. Oh, and then the eyes light up. Can I have a card? Yep, here's my card. Just talk to people. And one random guy told me, hey, by the way, I have a sister who does quilts. I'm going to tell her about you when I started. And I ended up getting her and her 5-10 friends, and they found out that I did bring 3 quilts, get one for free. Those suckers brought me quilts up the gill, and they were all excited because they were getting a free quilt. Who does not get excited when they get a free deal? And they would come and they would do their quilts for them, and then people would see the work I did, and then they would share that I was willing to give a free quilt away or do free work. And then they literally, it starts this wonderful ripple effect. So that's kind of my recommendation. But you can't do anything without first you really being good. And so get your quilts, go find antique quilts, get your mama and your aunt's quilts and quilt them for her. Practice the most important thing, what you will love your favorite thread to be. Practice your tension. Practice learning how your machine, like when the thread breaks, how to realign it. When the machine messes up, how to fix it. Practice those types of skills, because when they happen with your client, you don't want to tell your client, oh, by the way, I don't know how to fix it. You'll ruin yourself. As a matter of fact, I did a quilt recently that I had to unstitch a whole row, and I know a lady who a long armor, who still gave the long arm that way with really bad tension. And no, you're gonna have to hustle. Like I sat for an hour and I unstitched it and I fixed it, because that's my reputation. I want to do great work, and but I know how to unstitch. I'm also real good about listening to when my machine makes different noise, how to be on top of it so that I could fix it quickly and I don't end up messing up. And just to be honest, you want to hear something stupid I did? I quilted the wrong design on on a client's quilt just recently. I can't even believe it. I don't know. I think it was too hot in here, and I was trying to hurry up and get the work done. I switched the paperwork. I switched the paperwork from when I pulled it out of the bin. I was winding the bobbin, and I switched the paperwork, and I didn't look at the measurement, and I put the wrong design and put it on the wrong quilt. I went into a panic. I called the client and said, I'm giving you the quilt for free. Unless you want me to unstitch it, what do you want me to do? And I was willing to, I'll do the work for free. This was my mistake. This was my mess. And then on top of it, what discount do you want on the next quilt? Because I screwed this one up. And there's 2 options. Either you unstitch the whole thing, which I could have done, but that would have taken me probably 10 hours to unstitch it, or give the work for free and lose, $200. I'd rather lose $200 than 10 hours, because in 10 hours I could make a couple more quilts and finish them. So, yeah, I literally did that, believe it or not. It happens. And it was a good mistake because the client was saying we were going to put it on another quilt. She's like, you know what? I realized I don't like that design. And so I'm really good about placement, how the design fits row per row. I mean, I'm on top of that sucker. And you could see a gap from how the design went through. And she says, I don't like the gap. So I thank you for messing up. And I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Oh, you should have seen me sweating. And like, and be honest. Be completely honest. I messed up. I'm sorry. This is my fault. I should have known better. There's no, I'm taking full responsibility. And the client was so gracious. She's like, don't worry about it. I don't like the gap. And I said, you know what? I'm going to put it back on the long arm. I'm going to meander in there to get rid of the gap, so you love it anyway. And she's like, don't bother. I don't care. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I did? Girl, she put it back on there. She meandered it. I got rid of the gap. I quilted in there. And it's not the design she wants, but she's also seeing, and this is what people want to see from you, that you're willing to put 100% effort no matter what, even when you make mistakes. So if you want to know what you need to learn, those kind of things you're going to have to learn to put effort and really good, loving, hard effort into doing your best job for your clients. And don't be afraid to say, I literally had one time the long arm punctured a hole in back of a quilt. It was, thank God, on the very top. I don't know what happened. The thread got caught with something in the back, and it was a $300 job or $400 job that I did. And I gave the work for free because, you know, it was a small hole. I fixed it. You could have put a label there. She would have never known. I could have made excuses, but I said, you know what? Take the work. And the lady was fighting me with it. Nope, I'm not taking the work. And I said, yes, you are. I'm not charging you for this. So let me see. Let me answer some questions here. Some people, let me see. You would like to see a time-lapse video of my long-arm quilting? Okay, I'll do that. I answered the question about, do I have my kids here? I only have 2 and they're grown adults. Thank God. I'm done. No school. They're not going. Thank God. I didn't have to buy nothing. Yes, I do binding for quilt clients, and I also do, Dandy was asking me, wait, Garlin Lima? Hopefully I'm saying your name. Yes, I do binding, and I do labels for clients. Have I ever used a quilt, refused a quilt? Dandy quilters ask me. No, I take everything. I'm that person. Can you tell I eat everything too? Yeah. No, I take all work. But when I take all work, for example, if I see problems, I tell the client beforehand, this is going to be a problem. This seems here going to be a problem, because I evaluate the quilt before I take the quilt. I tell the client, I may have puddling, I may have pleats. Are you okay with that? If you're okay with that, I'll take the work. If you're not okay with it, maybe you should keep it. So I take all quilts. I've taken some ugly quilts, and I still take them because the client wants me to do them. But I always am very upfront about my ability and what I can do. And if something, for example, like I do embroidery work, I did some jackets and I embroidered on the sleeves. I did on the sleeves. I take all work. Like, I don't say no to work unless you're, to be honest, I will not take work if you piss me off. If you're a picky person, if you're a client who harasses me a lot, if you're a client that, it's more, for me, it's not the work. I'll take any work. It's the person to where I will refuse work. if the person is giving me a hard time. Hi, Pam from Country Sewing. I will not take your work. So to me, energy, human energy, attitude, if you're picky. For example, one lady brought me 4 custom quilts. And what she was doing is she was trying to get pricing. She could have got my prices on. I could have called her, told her, this is what I charge for custom quilting. She wasted my time. She wasted 4 hours. And then she purposely didn't bring back fabric or batting so that she wouldn't be pressured to leave the quilt with me. And then she called me like a week later and I gave her my price ranges. And I don't like games. I don't like people playing games with me. So she came back like a month later, let's say a month later, and wanted me to do the work, and I refused it because anyone who wastes my time and plays games, they're going to be problematic clients. So I refused to take them, but never the quilt. It's the people. All my clients are word of mouth. Every single client. And I've tried advertisements. I do banners, flyers. I did them for BVYA and Youth Association and baseball and soccer, but it's more word of mouth. As a matter of fact, my clients have put me on Facebook groups, like in the Cibolo community Facebook group or the Shirts community Facebook group. They advertise for me. That's why, like I say, do great work, because people will shout you out. I have met people who talk to other people. That's why I say sometimes God will bring you the work. And God has really brought me some really great clients, and really great clients, like clients that come every month or every 2 months, and they bring me these beautiful quilts, and those are the clients you want. And so no, I don't advertise at all. I've tried. When I tried, nothing happens with it. When I just pray to God, to be honest, and say, God, I really would like to start working again. All of a sudden, my phone starts ringing. Hey, by the way, so-and-so told me you do work, and your name is Lorena. Can you do this for me? As a matter of fact, just recently, I told God I didn't want to do work because I was doing, a trunk show for the guild. And I wanted like time off so I could do my own quilts. And I told God, I don't want work right now, so can you slow it down a bit? And it slowed down. And then just recently I finished the trunk show and I said, I'm ready to get busy. And sure enough, I got 4 brand new clients who are word of mouth. So, but you'll get good word of mouth if you're good with people. And also you'll get bad word of mouth if you're if you charge wrong, man, if you treat people. I can't imagine walking away from my machine. I walk away from my machine. As a matter of fact, I'm so good for setting up my machine and getting it nice and flat, and that's why I iron a lot. You can walk away and do other stuff. Now, it can sabotage you, especially if you're not listening, and the tension messes up, but you can walk. I used to walk away. I'm kind of more stuck here. Yes, I want to make videos. Lisa asked me if I have videos on making my own leaders. Yes, I already have the footage. I just need to edit it on how to make your own leaders. Also, too, David Weaver, gave me a suggestion on making your own red snappers. We're going to try them. So I'm going to try that. Oh, you like my Frankenstein batting? Then you're welcome. Yes, Frankenstein batting. I love using all types of batting. I think those mistakes are the most stressful. I'm sorry. Yeah, I also think mistakes make you genuine to your client. Being authentically genuine and willing to do whatever you can do to make them happy makes you a better customer service person. It makes you a good person to them. And the neat thing is because even if it's a tiny hole, I'll give the quilt to the client because I know something happened. I saw the machine do something. I'll give the work away because I want, even if the client doesn't come back to me, I want them to be happy with the work I did, despite what happened. So that, I think that's something you're going to have to be really mindful of. That if your motivation, and I've said this a lot, if your motivation is money, you're going to be in the wrong field, because long arm quilt, the machine is a lot of money, and to start making money the way you want to make money is going to take time. And you could do, I believe me, vinyl makes you money faster than long arm quilting. Thank you, Wendy. Have a great lunch. Have a great day. Hi, Pam. I'm reading some of your comments. Yeah. I believe that my clients, I have a 100% return clientele, believe it or not. And if I don't hear from them, usually my client, died, or they're having issues with their husband and they haven't been able to sew. And honestly, it doesn't matter. My motivation is that person, not the work they give me. And I think if you focus on that, work will come no matter what. Because I think God sees how you treat people. If you treat people well, God can trust in bringing you more people that you'll treat well. And you'll be good too. And so be good to people. That's just another point. Thank you, Lisa, for watching my videos. I appreciate you. Diana, when you're spraying, be careful when you do it on red fabric. But you can also use, she says that sometimes when she does custom quilting and she sprays the fabric, it starts to bleed. If it's marking, it bleeds and then it should disappear. But if you want, you could use a cotton batting. Dunk it in water. Dunk this in water, like a bowl of water, and then rub it gently on the fabric. And you'll probably have less issues with bleeding, because when you spray it, it sprays everywhere on the fabric, and you can control where you wet the fabric with old swatches of batting. So what else? I also wanted to share with you, I'm going into a new business endeavor. I talked about this a while back. I'm going into laser cutting. I'm going to start cutting my own rulers. I ordered it already, and hopefully it's on the way soon. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm like that lady who open when it comes to that machine getting here. I've always wanted it. I think I've talked about it on a couple live streams about me wanting to cut my own long arm quilting rulers. So I kind of gave up the dream, gave up the whole idea of it, because I didn't have what is it? I didn't have this space, to be honest. I didn't have this room. And then just recently I saw someone laser cutting some stuff, and I was like, oh, I gotta do that. So I wanted to kind of implement that in this channel, if you guys are okay with it, or I was going to start my own channel with that and see how that goes. I wanted to do long arm quilting rulers, and everyone who sells rulers have these problems. They buy from a laser cutter, and so when I bought rulers from a lady who did laser cutting for me, let me see if I can find my ruler. I don't think she understood what I wanted. And some people just do not have the same quality of work that they want to do. For example, she did these rulers for me. I love this ruler, but what she did is she used a scrap of plexiglass from Lowe's, and she sold me this ruler when she got the scrap material for free. And so she the ruler was all scratched up. It was dirty. Her laser sprayer sprayed mud on the ruler, and I literally ended up buying like 8 of them, and she charged me quite a bit of money, and she didn't get really what I wanted. She didn't. Let me see if I could. She didn't get my concept, and so what I want to do is I got a laser. I'm getting a laser. It's coming in soon. I wanted to try different types of things with rulers to really make them functional, because they're hard to, when you're working custom quilts or when you're just using ruler work, they're hard to grip. And then my favorite ruler, which is this one, it's too heavy for my hand. So I want to kind of cut this in half, lighten the weight of it. I also was thinking of putting etching people's names on them and putting an LED light, so that a little light that sits here. Okay, I'm crazy. Okay, just Lorena's crazy. And then it literally, the etching will light up while you're ruler working. Isn't that genius? That's genius. So I don't know what's going to happen with, I just kind of diving all back in. So like some of you were asking me about long arm quilting, I have researched the heck out of it. I have talked to people. I've called the companies. I had 3 companies in mind. I was going to go into one company, and then thank God I researched more, because I found out that their machines were not as good as I thought they were. And I ended up watching several people and learning about just really going into conversations about lasers. And I talked to the company. I harassed the company, and the one company that didn't give me the time of day is the company that lost my business. So there was this lady who worked for one company. You should have seen me picking her brain. Like, I was like prying it open and pulling information out of it, because I wanted to know everything she could tell me. And then I would leave her like, you know what, let me think about it. And she gave me time to think. And then she would kind of come back and say, hey, where are you at? And I was telling her, I'm going to go with this other company, man, because I don't know. I don't want to do y'all. I don't like y'all. I'm not interested. And she would say, what questions can I answer for you? What can I do for you? And you know what? They won me. And I think the company that I'm buying the laser from is perfect for me. As a matter of fact, recently I went on Facebook, and there was a whole thing going on there, and I made a comment like, I'm scared the hell out that I got into something I shouldn't have gone into. And the president of the company talked to me and took time to message me back and told me that he was going to personally help me with anything I needed. And right there, it just like I made the perfect decision. And so when you're getting into a business like long arm quilting, that's what you're looking for. Or when you're looking for someone who's willing to do long arm quilting for you, make sure that that person does not get annoyed when you take their time. If they are annoyed that you're asking them questions and taking their time, take your quilt to someone else, because they're not going to really invest quality time when you do have a problem with them. So time. Someone else, all right, let me ask her a question here. Someone said that they were using water brushes. I use water brushes for embroidery. When you use your marking, you could do the water brushes, but I recommend cotton swab, wet it, and rub lightly. And rub on both sides if you do embroidery. For quilting too. Quilting, what happens is you only get to one side, so sometimes the marking comes back up. That means you didn't wet it enough to get deep into that fiber. So wet it with a cotton. I use batting. You can use a paintbrush, but I think I'm in a hurry, so fast. Do you have separate videos, YouTube videos for? Yes, I have tons of YouTube videos on embroidery that no one watches because YouTube has put me in the YouTube algorithm box. Yes, I have a lot of videos when I've done embroidery, and YouTube does not send out my videos because YouTube is wanting me to do what you guys want to watch, would be long arm quilting, of course, and but they don't send out my embroidery videos. I did try to do a couple of them, and what YouTube does, because YouTube now wants to own my life when they don't own me, if you do other content that when YouTube wants you to do, YouTube will kill your channel. That's why I'm not growing as fast as I should be, because I've posted, for example, I did block swaps, and I did some like making the ironing boards and stuff, and making stuff other than long arm quilting. YouTube will not send those videos out because they feel like this is where they want my videos to go. So yes, I do have embroidery videos. I wanted to put more embroidery videos down, but if you go down my feed, probably from some years back, you'll see videos on embroidery. Or if you put Lorena's quilting and then put embroidery, all my embroidery videos should pop up, and I have a playlist, Tina. So I hope that helps. Also, I'm letting y'all know I left the Quilt Guild. Bye-bye. I left the Quilt Guild. I needed some time out. And we're doing a block swap on Lorena's Quilting Facebook group that we're finishing. Do y'all want to see the quilt? I'm working on it right now. I'm not done. I'm also letting you know that I have an Etsy that I'm probably going to start putting my patterns in there that I've done throughout the years. If you guys are interested in my patterns, I don't have the Etsy put up yet, but down the line I am going to do it. And I think I'm just going to try to sell my patterns for like $3 or $1 or something, so that there is some kind of little type of monetary value of kind of publishing and getting something in return for the work that I'm doing for my patterns. Kind of like, I don't know, and you guys can download them on PDF, but that's down the line. I'm working on them right now. But I'm working, look, block swap. The black background group got me all their blocks, and there's a couple, I'm missing 2 from the other groups that it's coming. So those are kind of my plans. I'm thinking, I like these live streams because I could share the plans that are coming. I'm also doing a podcast, sharing a little bit more of another side of me, because YouTube doesn't like me to share who I really am. They only want to share Lorena the long armor, which is okay. I don't mind. I think it's kind of neat doing YouTube because people run up to me and they start talking about my dog, my Cookie. She's not here right now because it's cold. But it's kind of neat. Do y'all want to see it? Yes? Maybe? Or you'll stay here? Dun, dun, dun. I love you block swappers. I've never done a block swap before, and I did one last year, and this year it kind of exploded. So if you want to participate in any of these, and they were free. I'm not charging to do block swaps. Hold on. I know it's beautiful, right? I still need to put 3 more rows on it, and what was neat is I did one of these because I put myself in every group, and then I got kicked off because everybody was asking to be part of it. And so I did 3 groups. There was about 30 to 36, give or take, people, maybe less, maybe 30 people in the group, because a couple people did 2. 2 sets. 2 people did 2 sets. So maybe 33 people were in the block swap. And I never thought I was a pattern maker, but this is kind of cool. I never really considered myself a piecer because I was more of an embroiderer and a long armor. But of course, if you're a long armor and you have a YouTube channel, you're supposed to know how to piece. I'm a piecer, right? But can I say that that I'm madly in love with this kind of work? No, but it was fun because this quilt had people from New York, from Florida, from California, from Texas, from all over, which is kind of neat. And so you're kind of getting a piece of the community on YouTube that you're reaching. That's what's neat about YouTube. Yes. And Tina, if you want more videos on embroidery, I will make them because I do a lot of work in embroidery. And I have 3 machines, and it's kind of like I did Christmas stockings. So I'm talking about embroidery now. I did Christmas stockings. I did pillowcases, and I have a pillowcase video on how to make your own pillowcases that are double-sided. I also have done how to do banners because I do a lot of banners for churches. And so there is kind of like this. I love embroidery. I'm also, tell me what you think. I'm thinking of making clothing. I got myself a serger. I broke my serger years ago, and I used to initially, believe it or not, I used to make my own clothing because I'm very broad-shouldered, and it was hard for me to find clothing that fit me well. And so that's how I started sewing, making my own clothes. But I know you guys probably are asking questions about long arm quilting and having a business. Honestly, you can make a business out of anything. You can make a business out of anything. You can make, and I could share vinyl. I was going to do a video on what is the most lucrative business with the least cost. Vinyl. You could do, put vinyl stickers on cars, coffee cups. You can do vinyl, like the kind of stick on vinyl. You could take them to schools and a sheet of vinyl. This is what I could pick y'all's brain at. A sheet of vinyl only costs $1. So a small piece of vinyl could cost you less than 30 cents for, let's say you want to put your initials on a cup, less than 30 cents, and you charge a person $5 to make their initials. Yes, that's more than 100% markup. And then vinyl you can go into with Cricut or a Silhouette. You can make vinyl cuts like that, which costs what, $300, and that's not even getting a heat press. And then when you get a heat press, you go into it opens the door to a different field. And heat press, you could do vinyl shirts. As a matter of fact, I just recently did a job, 2 jobs. One where I printed a picture of a human being that died, a young man who got murdered, and the wife wanted pictures of the memorial on a shirt, and the paper cost me $1. I printed them, it cost me another $1, and I didn't charge for them, but if I wanted to, I could have charged $22 a shirt. And the vinyl only cost me $1, not including the ink. Probably the ink maybe another $1. The kind of heat press that I recommend, you get a Hotronix from, it's Hotronix. Look up my Garland Lima. I'm saying your name wrong, I'm sorry. I have a video on vinyl doing, literally, I tell you what size to cut the lettering, what font to use, where to put it on a jersey, and how much it cost me to do it. I have a vinyl t-shirt business video if you want to look at that. And so I know you guys are looking for different avenues of making money, different ways of making money differently. And you know, someone would want a decal on a car, for example. My friend has a decal on her car that it says "Have Faith." that decal costs less than 20 cents to make, and they sell decals for like $10. You could sell them for $3 and you already made 100%. That's what I'm talking about. You could even charge less because people will buy more, but you're still making more than 50%. And that's not a high expense markup, because a couple of you are talking to me about wanting to work from home and trying to get some extra revenue. Well, that's a good way. There's on Etsy, people sell stickers for their planner. I make stickers for organizing my business, my employment, my jobs, and I make stickers for organizing my GEDs. So you could literally open and that's just with sticker paper, and you could print it and then have your vinyl cutter or your cutter, which is a silhouette or whatever it is, cut it for you, and you're making $5 for one half sheet of paper. Yeah, it's out there. People are buying it on Etsy. So those are kind of things. I know you're looking at long arm quilting, but I think if you can make money here, because I'm the kind of person, I made money in embroidery, I made money in vinyl, and because I knew how to make money in those areas, where if I didn't make money, Jerry Lynn, okay, thank you, sorry. If you make money in those areas, you can make money anywhere. So I knew when I got a long arm quilting machine, because I was already making money on embroidery and doing embroidery hats and embroidery logos and stuff like that, and I kind of grew into that. I knew that when the long arm came to me, that I was able to make money off of that too. And learn in those little fields where you're not spending an extreme amount of money and put that kind of effort, you can grow into other things. I literally told someone, start a t-shirt business, save the money that you make off a t-shirt so that you could buy your long arm. But we all have excuses to why we don't do stuff, and I want you to know that if you make excuses to why you're not doing it in these smaller areas, when you have a long arm quilting machine, you will do the same. And so I had to know something about myself, that if I could make money here, I know how I am, I'll make money anyway. Like, I'm spending money on this laser, and I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I'm already, and then my friends are like, Lorena, the way you are, you have a hustle, you have a determination about you, you'll make something out of it. And I'm like, yeah. And I think cutting stuff on a laser is going to be easier to make money, because I can make bigger or smaller things with less effort. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense here? I don't know. How long have we been here? Are you guys okay? Are you just listening, or what else do you want me to share? Anything? I don't know. What time is it? What time is it? It's 8:50, guys. I wanted to thank you for just being here. I appreciate you. Thank you for watching my videos. Y'all are encouragement to make me keep going. So I thank you for just supporting me. But I want to, whatever you guys want, I'm here to help. You can message me, join my Lorena's Quilting Facebook group. If you want to listen to something different about me, I have a Spotify now. It's, I don't know if you can look me up on Lorena Quilting, Lorena Cadena, my name, or it's called athreadofscarlet.net.com, athreadofscarlet on Spotify. And I also have a blog, athreadofscarlet.net, that I don't do that often because I'm doing YouTube. My baby Cookie is inside, comfortable, probably with my Lily. Lily was yelling at me earlier, like, get back inside. Today's Sunday. It's our time. So they're in the living room, probably snuggled under pillows. My fur babies. So if you guys need anything, message me. I have a Facebook group, like I said. I'm here for y'all. I don't want this YouTube thing to be a one-sided experience. I really want to be part of the community that you guys do. I met some of you that are wonderful. There's one lady who posted on my Facebook group, which is to me, this is a God thing. I've always wanted to do, like I said, I'm not much of a piecer, okay? I do love piecing and I do piecing, but that's not my thing. And she does quilts for babies and gives them to hospitals for cancer patients, cancer kids. And she literally wanted just a quilt to be quilted by me. And I did work for her. She's located in Dallas. And on my Facebook group, I told her if she needed those quilts quilted to send them to me and that I'll quilt them for her. To bless her, to serve her community. And I wanted to be a part of her, like what she did. I sent her fabric, which is wonderful. And with that fabric, she sent me back these little sweet quilts. And we literally, her and I working together, got 9 of those quilts together done. And that just like, and her having a picture of herself, dropping them off at the hospital was like, I would have never met her if I never did YouTube. And some of you guys are like friends that I've met and gotten to know. And so I really do thank you. And there was a time, I think 1 year, where I was having issues with my kids, and some of you were praying for me when I told you I was being audited. Y'all prayed for me because I was falling apart with the audit. And you guys have been here for me in the good and in some of the bad. And I love it when you guys celebrated with me when I got this room and when I got this space. God, it was neat seeing you as a community be part of my life. And somehow I love some wonderful ladies say, I eat lunch when I watch your videos eating lunch, so I'm part of your lunch regiment, which is kind of neat. So I just wanted to come up here and just say hi, that I love you. It's less formal. It's less edited. It's less structured. So thank you for being here, all of you. And if I didn't say your name, like Patricia, Dunn, who else? Elizabeth Chapel, Peneth Cox, Peneth. Sorry. I love y'all. Everybody, y'all are so sweet. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And so it's going to be 10. My husband's probably like, hey, what's going on? And y'all's family is probably looking for you too. So, but if you need anything, go to Lorena's Quilting Facebook group. You can message me or you could just join the group. Join the group because I also have a business page. And so, yeah, I like to know more about the business side. Okay, I'll do more videos on the business side. But okay. Like, what do you want to know? Like, how much money I make a week? How I do the taxes? Lisa, what would you like me to show? Taking in clients. Someone said, like, Kenneth. Where's Kenneth? I'm looking here. I'm sorry. Oh. Peneth is like Kenneth. Oh, thank you. Have a wonderful day. But yes, I'll do videos. If you want, go on my group and get Lorena suggestion group. We want you to do this. We would love to see this. It really will help me kind of go, like, just do videos. Try anything, Tina. Anything. I'm one of those kids that think I'm 20. Although life is my oyster. Who do I want to be? And then I'm thinking, what am I thinking? Getting into this laser. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to learn something new. Yes, Michelle, YouTube changed my channel. As a matter of fact, YouTube is destroying my channel. It's not YouTube. It's just YouTube wants me to do what YouTube makes money from me. they want to boss me around, and which I don't know if I needed to start another channel and do a channel of embroidery, a channel of long arm quilting only, a channel of piecing, a channel of, I don't know. But you know what? That's a lot of channels. And to me, I felt like variety, you know, we don't eat the same food every single day. So I wanted to bring some type of variety. But YouTube doesn't like me bringing variety. They want you to eat the same raw chicken or same grilled chicken with vegetables every day because they think you guys like that. And so those are some of the things that have been going on with YouTube. Okay, I'll do the leader video soon. No. If you're going to put a long arm quilting machine into your space, no. I have embroidery rooms. I have embroideries in my living area. No. If it makes you happy, if it brings you joy, if it makes you creative, I don't think nothing's a bad idea. If it makes you excited about tomorrow, just do it. I'm seriously. I made these earrings. I could do videos on making jewelry, but I just love making jewelry. Why? Because I get to wear them. I get to wear what I make. I get to use it. And I made them. So no, try anything new. Try something that challenges you. And if you don't like it after a while, it's okay. You tried it. I want to try pottery. Anyway, I want to try everything, but I'm ridiculous. So I appreciate you. I thank you for being here. And all of you. Thank you for everything. Yes, living room is my studio. Yes. I had a machine, my sewing machines out because before I used to put them, I'm not going to leave. I need to leave. I used to put them under a microwave thing, and it was such a hassle to pull it out. I literally laid a desk and put my sewing machine like an art piece, like it's a piece of art, and I would sit down and sew and do stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to do, you could be whatever you want to be, I think, no matter what age you are. So I'm 50. I'm going to try out laser cutting and make stuff because I like making anything. And I even want to do thimbles out of silver just to see if I can. Whether I can or I can't, it doesn't matter. I find that it makes me happy. And so do what makes you happy. YouTube makes me happy. It really does. Especially seeing some of you being so kind to me. And I met a lady. She was so sweet. She goes, Lorena, you don't know, but I just love you. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's so neat. That is neat. So I love you in the Lord. I thank you for watching. And hopefully I'll post a couple videos soon, okay? I thank you and I appreciate you. Bye. Besos. This is Spanish. Besos. Let me stop.